Hey there, small business owners. I'm talking to you today because we have a free download. So if you look in the description of this video, there is a Google Drive link that you can actually download, a resource that goes over all of the tools that you can utilize in your business, not only to help your productivity, but to help make sure that while you're building a business and you can't hire actual team members, these tools can make it so much easier and so much more systematized in order to accomplish your goals and get your message out in the world. So go ahead and grab the freebie. It's in the link of the description of this video. If you're wondering or a little skeptical about what you're going to get here, I'm going to go over some of the resources in this free download today here. And like I said, the reason we put this together is because as a small business owner, we don't want you spending the majority of your time feeling like you have to do everything manually. There are so many software systems that can save you time, up-level your business, and make sure you're getting the most out of the systems you are creating. So if you want to go ahead and use any of these, go ahead and download the freebie, but make sure when you're also creating these systems in your business, you're thinking about ways you can document why and how you're using these products. Because eventually when you bring team members on in order to help grow your business even further, they're going to need to be onboarded into your systems, right? So our suggestion of what to do with this free download is to use the tools that you know will help you the most, and then make sure that you are actually creating like a Google Doc or something that we use as a program called Notion that you can actually systematically walk people through the best practices for setting things up. I like to do it with a combination of having these systems in place in a Notion doc, as well as using a program called Loom in order to video how you use these. Especially as we're all working remotely right now, it's important to make sure that people are able to onboard themselves quickly to the tools in your business. So let's dive into some of the examples here, why you should use them in your small business or why they might be right for you. And let us know in the comments below which ones you think you're going to try out, or if you have any to add to the list. Let us know some of your favorite business tools in the comments as we go through these. So the first couple here are these software tools for productivity. Rescue Time is an awesome app that you can actually add that will allow you to track what websites, what applications you're using, and the amount of time that they're taking from your day. I think time management always has to start with a baseline of knowing where your time's going. And this one will allow you to see that. And if you have any wasted time at all, it'll allow you to block the sites that are wasting your time during productivity hours, making sure you're working on your business for the things that are going to make you move the needle in the right direction. So if you're someone who's struggling with time management, check out rescuetime.com today. The next one, and one that we actually have an integration with our social media automation tool, is Zapier. So if you're not familiar with Zapier, it's a tool that's kind of like a if this, then that program. Zapier is excellent for setting things up, like saying, if I like this tweet, add it to my Meet Edgar library. It's not only used with Meet Edgar, though. You can do this with a variety of different apps. For example, here at Meet Edgar, when we do our hiring, we actually use Zapier in order to make sure that any form a person interviewing someone, any kind of Google form they're filling out, will go right into a Slack channel through the rules that were set up so we can create some transparency and make sure everyone's on the same page. Other systems that you can use in your business are outlined on Zapier in their help documentation. So check them out and think about ways that you could actually have this tool do some of the manual admin work that you might be doing yourself. Other things about finances. So when I talk to small business owners at Meet Edgar, I know finances is one of the things that many of us struggle with systematizing. There are tools out there that are excellent for making sure that you're not only paying attention to the right numbers in your business, but that you can make sure the documentation is all in the same place. So when it comes time to do things like your taxes or monthly revenue reports, it's just done with the click of a button rather than you having to sit down with a pen and paper and a calculator. So some of the tools that we recommend at Meet Edgar for your finances is a site called freshbooks.com. FreshBooks is awesome for an accounting software. You can do things like include invoices, track your time, make sure that everything is included in there. If you're working with other contractors or freelancers, everything can have a central hub there. Shoebox.com is excellent, and it makes it so easy to manage receipts and expenses. So when it comes time, like we were mentioning with those taxes, everything is right there, and you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, what am I forgetting? What am I missing? Because you've been curating it and you've been adding it to Shoebox this whole time. Bench.co is a really great bookkeeping software. We like to recommend it because it is a little more affordable. So if you are someone who is starting out in a business and you're not quite ready for a program like FreshBooks yet, still make sure you look into a software that could make this a lot easier for you and centralize all your finances. And that would be Bench.co. All right, so client management. Of course, if you run a small business, you need clients in order to make that small business meaningful and profitable to you. So when it comes to managing your clients, nothing is going to be better than having a face-to-face relationship and building that trust. And one of the programs that we use to have calls to onboard people or to do user interviews for our YouTube channel is Zoom. On Zoom, you can have these meetings with as many people as you need, whether it's with your clients or with your team. One of my favorite features of Zoom is that you can actually record the meetings. So this way they can go into your centralized system. If you need to have someone else who couldn't attend the meeting actually see what was discussed there, you could send them the recording. Same for doing interviews, like I mentioned, with people for your YouTube channel or anything. You can record it, upload it to YouTube, and it's a super simple system to use. They do have a free tier or a paid tier. Check them out. Their URL is zoom.us. Calendly is a tool that makes it so much easier that you don't have to go back and forth in the email process of trying to set up an appointment. So what Calendly is great for myself particularly is making sure that if I'm emailing someone and they ask to set up a time to get onboarded to the MeetEcker software, rather than asking them, hey, what time zone are you in? What times and days work for you? I can send them my Calendly link and say, please find a time to go over this here. They'll book a time that works for my schedule. I can set the parameters around when I allow people to book on my calendar. It sends them a calendar invite right away. Included in that calendar invite is the room we're going to meet in and any other descriptions that you can set in there. So it makes that process a huge time saver if you're someone who books calls with people. Google Drive, I know that seems like an obvious one, but if you're not utilizing Google Drive in order to share documents, I would highly recommend it. You can upload PDFs and send to people. You can see in the actual description of this video here how we use Google Drive for our freebie downloads like this one in order to share it out into the world. Completely free, comes with your G Suite subscription, so go ahead and check out Google Drive for making sure you can share files safely and easily with your clients. Legal. So this is something that is of definite interest to you as a small or solo business owner who might not be able to afford actually hiring a lawyer yet. Make sure you check out these two apps. One is called Shake by Legal. Their URL is a little bit weird. It's web.shakelaw.com. So make sure you see that's web, not www, if you want to check them out. What they do is they actually create legally binding agreements, and they include things like NDAs in there, so you can quickly create contracts and know that everything that is needed in that contract has been added. So check them out if you're someone who is struggling a little bit to make sure that you have all the legal side of your business set up. The other one we'd recommend is LegalZoom. So LegalZoom is excellent because they offer a wide variety of legal services like contracts, copyright projections, all of this stuff that's important in your business but might not be your area of expertise. Design. So of course, in order to grab people's attention, you need to have beautifully designed social media posts, email marketing, newsletters, and templates like this. However, you don't necessarily need to be a graphic designer in order to do this. For example, here at MeetEcker, we actually do not have an in-house graphic designer. We will sometimes contract bigger projects out, but these tools here are actually the main ways that we create things like this PDF or our social media posting templates. Canva is going to be your best friend for this. It's easy to create beautiful graphics, not only for social media, but things like this template was actually created in Canva. They allow you to upload your own images. They allow you to utilize their own design templates. If you're someone like myself who doesn't exactly have an eye for design, they have templates you can customize in there for yourself already. Unsplash is a great free graphic site. There's a ton of free graphic sites. So if you don't want to pay for the images on like Shutterstock, Unsplash or like Pixabay is another really good one, is a way you can search terms in order to find a photo to download and utilize in something like your newsletter or social media posts. Completely free. They are crowdsourced images. So a lot of them are great, not only kind of beautifully shot ones if you don't have a great camera, but a lot of them also look like they've just been shot by a normal person like yourself. So they'll fit in to your social media feeds that way. So if you need some images and graphics, check out unsplash.com, completely free, and they have a huge variety of photos you can choose from. Video. So video is one of the strongest ways to communicate with your followers as well as with your newsletter subscribers, because it allows you to get your tone and it allows you to get your message out in a more personal way. One of the programs that we use quite often for things like our office hour sessions at Meet Edgar or any of our joint webinars is a program called Demio. Demio is an excellent webinar tool because it allows you to go ahead and create things like a registration page to collect who's going to come. It allows you to have a room with as many presenters as you want. One of my favorite features is you're able to upload your slides into Demio, and then you can have your head still show when you're describing those slides, which is something that we find very important in order to get that trust built up and in order to make your webinars really pop and feel like it's a room full of people discussing. So check out Demio if you do need a webinar software. I highly recommend it, and that's where we do all of our webinars here at Meet Edgar. Loom, I mentioned this at the beginning as something that I recommend when you're documenting the way that you do things in these apps or when you're documenting processes in your business. It's a great way to make sure you have every step-by-step for kind of an SOP down so you can just hand over a video to someone. I also love using Loom and customer support tickets for things that might be really hard to describe if I were just to write out the steps. But if I hopped on a video and showed someone how to set something up within our software, that would make it a lot easier. So it's an extension that you can add either to your browser, or they do have a desktop app that you can add as well. But it's a great screen share program. You can even have like your face again showing a little bubble in the lower left-hand corner as you're describing things to add that little personal touch. Headliner, it's headliner.app is the URL for that one. And this is going to be really great for a podcaster. So if you're really going to look into making sure you're getting your podcast out on social media, I want you to consider that it's going to be something you can use with describing your podcast on a short video, creating these kind of social media posts to make sure that people see your face behind that podcast. It's a great way to build trust and to repurpose your content. And you know how passionate we are about repurposing content here at Meet Edgar. So if you're sending out a podcast link, it's fine to send it out on that link, but check out headliner.app in order to see how you can create small social media graphics from an actual podcast. All right, so moving on to our project management session here. Trello is a must, especially if you're working remotely with different people. Trello will allow you to do things like create different boards. So for example, at Meet Edgar, we have boards for our marketing team, our development team, feature requests, our roadmap, and it keeps everything in a system that you can make sure is transparent to everyone on your team. It opens up cross-department communication, and it makes sure that all stakeholders for project, their voices can be heard in one centralized place. You essentially make these little cards for each project that have a title on them. When you click into the card, you can add things like different attachments that are relevant to the product. You can comment between each other if you feel like you need to speak with people about where and when this project is going. And you can even move cards from one board to another. So for example, here at Edgar, in our product development room, you can go ahead and put in like a feature request, and you can watch if that feature request gets approved or rejected or where it is on the roadmap. And it's super simple just to slide the card into each section. So check out Trello, especially right now if you're working remotely, to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks when you're doing your projects. Honeybook is excellent, and this could also go into the finance section a little bit too, because it is such an all-in-one tool. Honeybook.com, it offers everything from proposals to invoicing to project management, and it makes workflows such a breeze. So if you're looking not to have a bunch of tools, definitely check out Honeybook as a centralized place where you can do everything. Right here is our suggestions for email marketing. If you are someone who is building a business right now, you know you need to have an email list in order to nurture and communicate to your prospects and to your actual community members. We love using MailChimp. Of course, there's a ton of different providers out there, so check out the features. But MailChimp is the thing that we use, and they have a free tier if you are someone just getting started. I love the way that MailChimp does their pricing tiers actually, because it's per subscribers. So essentially, as your business grows and as you build up your newsletter, MailChimp will step you up. So you can start out making sure that you're at a lower or free price tier. And as you start making more money, that way you can afford their larger pricing tiers. And I think that makes so much more sense to make sure that you have all the tools you need when you're starting, and you can step up to the larger sections as you grow. We also love MailChimp because of not only the email features, but you can do things like build out landing pages. They have a ton of analytics when it comes to who is actually clicking on your links in your emails, as well as having an automated way to A/B test subject lines and the best times to send emails. And all of these things would take a ton of time for you to actually analyze yourself. Within MailChimp, they have a section you can easily see that. Boomerang is great, especially if you feel like you don't want to be someone who is caught in like email as almost being like a text thread, and you don't want to kind of forget about an email that you need to send, but you can't send it right away for whatever reason. Boomerang is a Gmail app you can add on. Super simple to use. You can schedule messages to be sent at a certain time, or you can make sure that you pause your inbox completely. And what this is great for is making sure you don't get sucked into that idea that your time is going into putting out everyone else's fires, and your time is going into making sure that you're actually responding to other people's priorities, which is essentially what email is. So you can pause your email, work on the projects that you need to work on, and make sure you're only checking email once or twice a day, so that's not what's consuming your entire time. Last, your website tools are going to be great for things like WordPress. If you don't have a blog these days, let me tell you, blogging is not dead, and it is one of the best ways to get content marketing out into the world and for people to become aware of your brand. We recommend using WordPress. It is an all-in-one blogging site. It is super simple to set up. So check it out if you don't have a blog. I'm sure most of you do, but that would be our recommendation there. Sumo is a really cool thing you can actually add to your blog, sumo.com. It'll have those cool little bars. So like if you ever see us running a discount on our site, or for example, we just had a freelancers relief week where we went and donated any subscription money for Meet Edgar to the freelancers relief week. We didn't necessarily want to create an entire landing page for this. So what Sumo allows you to do is just have that little bar across the top of your website that lets people know. So for example, if we're running a discount, it can say like new users sign up for Meet Edgar 50% off your first month, or this week only, if you purchase Meet Edgar, all proceeds will go to the Freelancers Relief Fund, and that little bar will just be up there introducing those ideas. Content. So this kind of goes along with the last ones. When you're actually getting your content out into the world, you want to make sure it's optimized. And one of the ways you can optimize it is making sure your grammar is flawless with Grammarly. So Grammarly is a really great thing to add on beyond just the normal spell check that you might utilize in like Google Docs. It analyzes the actual grammatical structure of your sentences a little deeper, and it'll tell you things like, if your sentence is hard to understand or long, or if the flow is weird even. So this is a great thing to kind of add in not only for spell check things, but for that little kind of view of an outside perspective. If you don't have someone editing your content for you, look into Grammarly to help out with that. Rebrandly. So if you are a Meet Edgar user, you can attach Rebrandly into your Meet Edgar account, and it's kind of like a way that you can brand your domain links, but also have them trackable. So for us at Meet Edgar, we always recommend one of the analytics you pay attention to on your social media posts is the click-through rate, because we don't want your content only to get engagement on social media. We want your content to serve the purpose of getting your followers from social media to a site you own, like your blog or your podcast there. Rebrandly allows you to see which links are driving the most clicks, so you can start comparing things like the time of day or the language you're using to make sure you're optimizing that. Last, We would be remiss if we didn't mention ourselves. Meet Edgar. If you're not familiar with us, we're a social media automation tool that really allows you to batch your social media status updates, put them into our library, set up a weekly repeating schedule to create consistency for your followers, and make sure you're posting when your followers are online and not when it's convenient for you. So if you're a small business owner, like I said, and you're not sure how you can start to save time, look into these tools and see which ones that you can find not only to help save you time, but to help up-level your business in all of these areas. The link to this download that we just went over is in the description of this video, completely free to you. So go ahead and grab it, check it out. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tool suggestions that we did not cover today. We would love to hear from you guys, either in the comments or if you have more questions, go ahead and email support@meetedgar.com. I will be in there the rest of the afternoon in the support inbox, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys.